Oh, hey everyone, it's Brian Altano and Mark Medina from IGN. And we've got some sad news for those of you that were still holding on to hope that Anthem would continue to be a video game that would get new content that you can play. Mark, we got some news this morning that Anthem development has officially ceased. It doesn't mean the game's canceled. The game has already been released. This is an interesting title that's had sort of like a rocky history with gamers. It became kind of a running joke with people for a while, but then there was also a lot of cool stuff in it that people did connect with and really liked. But it seems like the Anthem-shaped experiment at EA has come to an end. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, so the people that were very hoping that Anthem Next was going to be a thing, I'm sure really sad. As one of those people that was really hoping Anthem Next was going to be a thing, I'm very sad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the state of Anthem right now, I assume, is that it's basically just not going to get any more updates. Like, Anthem is a store that you can go to Target and buy, and there's no subscriptions. It's just a live service game that I assume is just not going to get updated anymore. And I assume the next news is going to be Anthem servers are shutting down. And once that happens, that's it. The game will just be dead. I think there's so much good, kind of hidden away in all of the badness. And so I'm actually really sad that they didn't get a second shot at making this game what it could have been.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I mean, like it's always a bummer to see a game like this with such potential kind of vanish, or at least whimper off into the sunset. We got a statement today from Christian Daly, executive producer on the game. It says, 2020 was a year unlike any other. However, and while we continue to make progress against all our game projects at BioWare, working from home during the pandemic has had an impact on our productivity. Not everything we had planned as a studio before COVID-19 can be accomplished without putting undue stress on our teams. I know this will be a disappointment to the community of Anthem players who've been excited to see the improvements we're working on. It's also disappointing for the team who are doing brilliant work. And for me personally, Anthem is what brought me to BioWare, and the last 2 years have been some of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of my career. He also said, game development is hard, and decisions like these are not easy. It seems like, obviously, this was a game that was in a rough spot going into the pandemic. The pandemic did not help the scenario in any way. But with a game like this, it's tough because you're constantly clawing uphill to get back to where you want it to be initially. This is a game that lives and dies based on A, the amount of content it gets, and B, the amount of people that meaningfully engage with said content. And when you have a sort of a lack of one or the other, those things kind of go hand in hand, and it's sad to see, but it's also, maybe it's cool that this team can now move on to bigger and better projects and new things and new experiments.
Yeah, the story of Anthem, not the in-game story, just the game itself, has almost never been, it's never been in a happy spot. Like, we know, from reports from like Jason Schreier that the first demo was basically completely fabricated. The game was called Anthem for I think it was 2 weeks before it was first revealed. Before that, it was called Beyond. And so it was always just they were always playing catch up to what this thing was supposed to be. We played the first demo, the alpha demo, and it was honestly the worst tech test you'll ever play for a live service game ever. Me and my friend played all weekend because we just loved the gameplay, but we got so good at the game would be loading and we would see the loading screen and we'd be like, oh, it did that, so it's gonna crash, so just restart the game. We knew how we could read the loading screen and we knew if it was going to work or not. But the game was fun to play once you were in it. The Tombs quest, everyone who played the game knows that was just all padding because they just didn't have a story, and then the Christmas decorations being up months well after Christmas was over. The game has never been in a state where people are yeah, this is a really, really good game. It's always been this is cool, but it could be better.
It's funny, the Christmas decoration thing to me stuck out as the single most sort of defining factor of the post game of this story. Of if you go by somebody's house in 2 months after Christmas and they have Christmas decorations up, they're either a little crazy, but maybe in a good way, or something has not gone well. And I think in this situation, it was the latter. This was obviously a thing that they were trying to figure out, but there's just really so much you can do at the point that so many people have left. And we've seen games as a service type games sort of revitalize their vision, refocus teams and devs, come in with a different angle, and sort of live a second life. But it didn't seem like that was happening here, and it's definitely not happening now. The good news is the statement does end with, moving forward, we need to laser focus our efforts as a studio and strengthen the next Dragon Age and Mass Effect titles while continuing to provide quality updates to Star Wars: The Old Republic. Which is great. You know, that's to watch these developers, it doesn't seem like everyone's sort of scattering to the wind. It seems like if people get reshuffled and they end up on some of these big projects based on big IPs that fans generally really love and are excited for, then that's probably the best case scenario. I mean, for most of us, Anthem fans or not, I think we would rather see, you know, more noise happening in those games than we would another addition to Anthem, a game that maybe most people have moved on from.
Yeah. I mean, I think between just the state of Anthem and then COVID and all that stuff, but then also just personnel changes. So many, Mark Dara and Casey Hudson have left. So then it made it where people from Anthem had to go to like Edmonton to work on, you know, the writing's on the wall when it's like, hey, we're going to fix Anthem, but also here's Dragon Age 4 and here's Mass Effect next. And then also we're making the Mass Effect, you know, remaster trilogy. You're kind of like, where does Anthem even fit in? But it's, you know, the BioWare Austin people are able to move back onto Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is just this MMO that people has a really dedicated fan base. So it's like, yeah, it's one of those like Anthem Next is canceled, but we're not, from what we can tell, we're not laying off a billion people. They're all just moving on to bigger and better things that we think people will be more happy with.
Right. Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think this is ultimately going to be a good thing in the long run. But in the meantime, rest in peace, Anthem. For those of you who love the game, let us know in the comments. For those of you who are happy to see this go away and excited to see what the teams work on next, let us know too. What was your experience like with Anthem? I remember when like the first E3 happened after this game came out and they barely talked about it, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. Something seems amiss over here. But either way, the great Anthem experiment is over for now at EA, and we're kind of okay with that. Maybe not Mark. Maybe I think Mark's a little sad inside, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and for all things video games, even Anthem, I guess, you're already in the right place. IGN.